Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, so Venerable Sangha, CRS and Dhamma friends, today we'll resume our discussion on the Sahajāta Paccaya.
Oh, sorry, Bande. We will give you the host. Okay, Bande.
Yes. So we'll resume our discussion on the Sahajāta Paccaya. So in the Sahajāta Paccaya, last week we discussed about the four types, that there are four types in the Sahajāta main group, the connaissance large group. And from that, from which is the Sahajāta, connaissance, Nisaya, dependence, Ati, the presence condition, and and the avigata condition, the connaissance non-disappearance condition. So from that we first will be discussing on the Sahajāta Paccaya, together with the classification and its analytical states.
尊敬的各位尊者、各位尼师、各位贤友，那今天我们将会来继续学习，在上一周我们所提及的具生源的相关内容。在上一周我们在课程的临近结束之时，讨论了有关于具生组之中的大具生组里面的4种源，即是呢具生源、意志源、有源，还有不离趣源。那在这4种的大具生组的源之中呢，我们将在今天首先来看一下其中的具生源，并且呢，我们也会对于它的分类的内容呢，来去做详尽的讨论。
So in the Sahajāta condition, the connaissance condition, that there are 9 paccayas, the 9 enumerations. So these 9 enumerations, it's applicable for the at the period of life continuity, right? Here at the period of life continuity, and rebirth linking, and also standalone matter, right? So we'll be discussing about on all of this here.
那么对于有关于具生的详细的分别内容当中呢，我们可以看到，对于具生源，它会存在有9个对应关系，因果的对应关系，或者说9种的答案。那如果我们对于这9种答案进行一个归纳和分类呢，我们可以基于3种的类型来去进行探讨。第一种呢是有关于生命转起期间的具生的呈现。还有结生刹那，以及呢，对于纯粹色法之间的具生关系的阐释。
So here the first one, right? The first enumeration. So we have this table, the analytical states, this table here. So first we have 3 wholesome terms. The first one is wholesome phenomena supporting the wholesome phenomena.
那在这9种的关系之中呢，第一种呢是围绕着主语，或者说它的原法是善组类型的民法而去进行的探讨。
Right. So here, the first one, I go through the Pali first. It says Kusalo Dhammo Kusalasa Dhammasa Sahajāta Paccayana Paccayo Kusalo Eko Kando Tinnanang Khandanang Sahajāta Paccayo Tayo. So that is the first part of it. Then comes the explanation. Tayo Khanda Ekasa Khandasa Sahajāta Paccayana Paccayo Dve Khanda Dinnang Khandana Sahajāta Paccayana Paccayo. The first one, the meaning is the wholesome phenomena, supports the wholesome phenomena through the force of connaissance conditioning, right? Because it's Sahajāta Paccaya. And then we have the breakdown on the aggregates, right? So this breakdown, it comes as Kusalo Eko Khando Tinnannang Khandana Sahajāta Paccayana Paccayo, right? Tayo, yeah. So it means one wholesome aggregate support the three aggregates through the force of connaissance conditioning. Then the three aggregates support a single aggregate, right? The second one, Tayokhanda Ekasakhandas, means three aggregates support a single aggregate through the force of connaissance conditioning. And finally, Dve Khanda Dinnang Khandanang Sahajāta Paccayana Paccayo, two aggregates support to aggregate through the force of connaissance conditioning. Comes like that.
好，我们来看一下，在这九个阐释当中，那么在第一组以缘法为善法的，第一种关系的呈现。那它的巴利的原文呢，是在文中刚刚的老师已经提及过。那它的含义呢，我们进行中文的翻译呢，即是善法对善法以俱生缘为缘，包括呢这样的三种表现方式。第一种，善的一运对三运以俱生缘为缘，也就是呢善的一种名运对剩余的三种名运以俱生缘为缘。第二，善的三运对一运以俱生缘为缘。然后还有呢，就是善的二运对二运以俱生缘为缘。
Right. So last week we went through these tables, which was just explaining on the combinations on the aggregates, right? So when the mental aggregates are supporting the mental aggregates, right? So one aggregate supporting three aggregates, and three aggregates supporting one, and two aggregates supporting two aggregates, right? So we went through this thing last time. So that's what is presented here, right? From one aggregate supporting three aggregates, three supporting one aggregate, and two aggregates supporting two aggregates.
They can show the charts again. Yeah, okay, 本地。好，在上一
Yeah,
周呢，
so yeah,
Yes,
when you
本地。
want me to scroll down, please tell me also.
OK， 本地，好的，那在上一周呢，我们看到了有关于民运和民运之间是如何形成支柱关系的表格。那在这个表格当中呢，我们可以看到是如何在俱生缘当中呈现出一运对三运的支柱关系，然后三运对一运的支柱关系，以及呢二运对二运的支柱关系。那么一运对三运呢有4种，三运对一运呢也有4种，二运对二运呢则有6种，所以加在一起呢一共是14种的对应关系。
So now, so having the briefed about these combinations, now we will move to the aggregates, right? So the wholesome, so now we see this table, right, which is pretty much the same format which we discussed in the connaissance small group. So the wholesome supporting the wholesome, right? So first we'll go through this line, right? So the conditioning states, the conditioning states are the 21 wholesome consciousness and 38 associated mental factors. And there is another important word here, which is given as component mental aggregates, right? It's component mental aggregates. Now, what it means as component means that it's a part, right? So we saw that when the wholesome phenomena supporting the wholesome phenomena, three aggregates was one aggregate was supporting one aggregate, three were supporting one, and two were supporting two, right? So in the conditioning states, right, whatever the aggregates in the conditioning states, it were in components, right? Three aggregates is a component, two aggregates, one component, one aggregate is one component, right? So if you consider the all of the four aggregates, either 3, 2, 1 are components. So that's why it is given as component mental aggregates here. And they are supporting the 21 wholesome consciousness, 38 mental factors. And here also we find this term components, right? You find these components because in the conditioning states, it were the three aggregates, two aggregates, and one aggregate.
接下来呢，当我们看到了它的巴利原文当中的解释之后呢，我们具体来看一下它的究竟法的实际内容。好，那在此呢，对于第一种的善对原法是善，原生法也是善，善对善的对应关系当中呢，在原法的善的民运的这个解释当中呢，我们可以看到，作为在此的原法的内容是21种的善心和38种的相应心所。然而，对于在此的这些的民运呢，我们需要特别注意的是，它指代的是部分的民运。什么是这里的部分的民运的含义呢？也就是呢，它只能够是以一种民运或两种民运或三种民运的方式而呈现。换言之呢，它不可能以4种民运的方式呢而呈现整体作为原法。那同样的，对于所支柱的原生法的内容呢，也是21种善心和38种相应心所。那作为这一部分的内容呢，它也是部分的民运，也就是呢，它也只可能呈现为3种或2种或1种的民运。
Okay, so now we'll move into the second type, which were the wholesome supporting the indeterminate, right? So first we'll go through the Pali, right? So it says, Kusalo dhammo abhyakatasya dhammasa sahajāta patsena paccayo kusala khanda chitta samutthānānaṁ rūpānaṁ sahajāta patsena paccayo. The translation is, the wholesome phenomena supports the indeterminate phenomena through the force of connaissance conditioning. The explanation sentence, the wholesome aggregates support the mind-produced matters through the force of connaissance conditioning, right? So here it's the first one was the mental aggregates, wholesome mental aggregates supporting the mental aggregates. And here it's the wholesome mental aggregates supporting the mind-produced matter.
好，那么来看一下，第二种阐释它的巴利原文。好，在这里呢，巴利文呢，老师已经为大家解释过，我们来看一下它的中文翻译。在这里，善法对无记法以具生缘为缘，它的具体内容呢，指的是善运对心生色法以具生缘为缘。那在第一个答案的这个缘法和缘所生法的阐释的形态当中呢，我们可以看到它的相应的对应的关系是民法对民法，而第二条的答案当中所呈现的缘法和缘生法的对应关系，则是以民法对色法的方式而呈现。
So, okay. So before moving to the analytical stage, again, we'll go through the combinations which are explained in the which I explained here, right? Especially when it comes to the aggregates, right? Oh, please, shall we pause it? I think there's an error. Okay. Yes, there were no error. I was to just check something to confirm. So here in the Pali, it comes as kusala khanda chitta samuttananang rupanang sahajata paccena patsyo. Which means the wholesome aggregates support the mind-produced matter through the force of connaissance conditioning. So here we see the term as wholesome aggregates, right? And these wholesome aggregates, it is further divided in a few ways, right? Okay, so yeah, so one is one aggregate supporting to the mind produced matter, then three aggregates supporting to the mind produced matter, two aggregates supporting the mind produced matter, and four aggregates supporting to the mind produced matter, right? So for here, then when this one aggregate is supporting, we take one by one, right? Feeling, perception, formations, and the consciousness aggregate, they are considered separately. And in the conditioned state, we have the mind produced matter here. Then for the three aggregates, all the combinations are taken here: feeling, perception, formations, feeling, perception, consciousness, etc. They're supporting the mind produced matter. And for the two aggregates, there are 6 combinations. All the combinations are taken here in the conditioning states, conditioning aggregates, and we have the mind produced matter here. Okay, so there's an error here. There should be a comma here. So the 4 aggregates, I think I should wait. Right, the 4 aggregates, they are which feeling, perception, and formations and consciousness, they support the mind produced matter here. Okay, there's the comma here, right? I did not see it previously. So so here, when it comes to constituents, when it comes to components, right? Constituent and component, they are the same meaning. When it comes to these constituents, there are 4 methods, right? Here, 1 aggregates, there are 4 methods. For 3 aggregates, 4 methods. For 2 aggregates, there are 6 methods, right? And for 4 aggregates, it's 1 method, right? So altogether, in this combination, how many are there? 8, 14, and 15 are there here, right? 15 methods are there when you consider these combinations, right? Yes.
好，那么对于第二种对应关系，第二种答案的阐释当中呢，它特别的提到是善运对诸无记法，即是心生色法以俱生缘为缘。那么在这里呢，因为巴利当中它所提到的是กุ萨洛坎都指的是善运呢，那么我们在分析的时候呢，应当以กุ萨กุ萨拉坎达。库萨拉坎的吉达萨木塔拉那鲁巴那萨哈扎达巴吉达巴吉优善运对形成色以诸俱生缘为缘。那英文呢是以善运的方式而去提及，所以呢在这里呢我们应当呢再进一步的去细化它的善运的表现形式。那在该表格当中我们可以看到，我们在这里可以基于一种的善运，以及呢2种、3种和4种，一共4种方式来去表达这里的善运。那在它是一种运的时候，一种善运的时候呢，它可能是受想行识的其中一种，以俱生缘呢来去支柱 作为新生色的元所生法。那这样的话呢，它一共会拥有4种的构成方式。那如果它的元法呢是3韵，它也会有4种的方式。如果元法呢是2韵，则是有6种的构成方式。而最后一种，如果是4韵，也就是4名韵呢，作为整体作为元法呢，那么它们可以以1种的方式，以支生元支柱新生色升起。那因此呢，将这4种类型的表达方式加在一起，我们可以看到它们分别有4种、4种、6种、1种，加在一起呢，它一共是有15种的关系的呈现。
Okay, so moving into the analytical states, we have the right. This is this one, right? The wholesome supporting the indeterminate. So it says, to the mind produce matter in 5-fold existence, right? The 21 wholesome consciousness, the 38 mental factors that are both constituents and assemblage. Assemblage means like together, right? Constituent and component, same meaning. So, so what it means, right? So what we have to break it down really, right? We have to break down this sentence, right? So it says in 5-fold existence, Pali we call it Panchavokara Bhava, right? Which means there are 5 aggregates, right? So where there is 5 aggregates, this combination is there, right? The wholesome phenomena supporting to the mind produce matter, right? Where there is only uh, 4 aggregates, right? Like in the Asanya Bhava, immaterial planes. So there is only 4 aggregates. So this combination is not there in that places. So that's why the 21 wholesome consciousness and 38 mental factors, they only is supporting to the mind produced matter. It only takes place in the 5-fold existence, right? So that's why even in this combination that it is this is included. So the condition states are the mind produced matter generated by wholesome consciousness.
好，那么第2种的对应关系呢，是我们来看一下善对无记，它们作为元法和元所生法之时所包含的究竟法的内容。作为对于元法的善法，它的究竟法内容呢，包括有在五蕴界、五蕴有，也就是呢在五蕴界之中，作为构成部分名运以及整体名运之21善心和38相应心所。那在此呢，我们应当明白它的表达的内容当中呢，也就涵盖了在刚刚我们看到的表格当中，以4种的韵的表达方式而得到呈现。那在这里呢，是以整体的2种方式，即是构成部分名誉和整体名誉方式呢，来去进行概括。再者呢，这里特别的提到是应当在五蕴有的生存界。为什么呢？因为只有在五蕴界呢，才能够同时的存在有名韵和色韵。那如果是在无色界呢，只有四名韵；在无相有情界呢，则只是有色韵，不可能呢产生这样的一种对应关系。啊，它的原所生法呢是无记法，它的究竟法内容就是善心所生之心生色。
Right. So there is another statement, like another phrase here, which we need to understand, which is both constituents and assemblage, right? So which means that constituent means three aggregates, one aggregate, two aggregate, and three aggregates. Assemblage means four aggregates, right? So whatever we saw here, right? So this 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2 are constituents, and fourth one is assemblage.
好，那么在此呢，部分民运它的内容呢，就是在刚刚的表格当中的，作为原法是一运、三运或二运之时的进行。那整体民运的情况呢，则是在上述的表格的第四行第四种类型，是以整体的四民运作为原法的时候进行的讨论。
Okay, so I missed out on explaining another word term here, which was in the first enumeration, wholesome phenomena supporting to the wholesome phenomena. There is this term called reciprocally. Reciprocally means they are supporting each other, right? So that is one is mentioned as reciprocally, right? So it means that when one aggregate is supporting three aggregates, one is supporting three, that three will support the one aggregate in return. When three aggregates are supporting one aggregate, that one aggregate will support back the one aggregate, right? And the same case with two aggregates supporting the two, right? So they will be supporting each other.
好，那么我们刚刚呢，忘记提及，在第一种善对善的关系当中，应当强调的是彼此相互，也就是呢，如果原法呢是一运，原所生法是三运，那一运在一运一种的民运在资助三民运的同时呢，那它本身呢也受到三民运的支持。那同样的，在二民运对二民运的时候呢，它们相互之间也是彼此支持。那如果原法呢是三民运，原生法呢是一民运，那么同样的，在它支持一民运的同时，也受到一民运的这个相互的支持。
Okay, so now we move into the third one, the third enumeration, right? So in the third enumeration, we have the wholesome phenomena supporting the wholesome and the indeterminate phenomena. So here we have I go through the Pali. Kusalo dhammo kusalassacha abhyakatassacha dhammasa sahajāta paccayena paccaya, which means the wholesome phenomena supports both wholesome and indeterminate phenomena through the force of connaissance conditioning. And then in the explanation, kusalo eko kando tinnanang khandanang chitta samuttananang charupanang sahajata paccayena paccaya. Right, so one wholesome aggregate support the three aggregates and the mind produce matter through the force of connaissance conditioning. And then tayo khanda ekassa khandassa chitta samuttananang charupanang sahajata paccayena paccaya, which means three aggregates support a single aggregate and mind produce matter through the force of connaissance conditioning. Then Dve khanda dvinnang khandanang chitta samuttananang charupanang sahajata paccayena paccaya. Two aggregates support two aggregates and mind produce matters through the force of connaissance conditioning. So you see the combination, right? So when one aggregate is supporting, it becomes the conditioning state. So it supports the rest of the aggregates plus the mind produced matter, right? So all it's presented here.
好，那我们接下来看一下第三种的答案的呈现关系。那这种呈现关系呢，它的表达形式，原法是善法，原所生法是善法和无记法。我们先来看一下有关于这一部分的分别品。那它的巴利原文呢，有提到善法对善和无记法以俱成缘为缘，以什么样的方式呢？善的一运对三运和新生色以俱生缘为缘，善的三运对一运和新生色以俱生缘为缘。 善的二韵对二韵和新声色以具声源为源。
So before moving to the analytical states, go through this table where we find the combinations, right? So, right, the first combination is one aggregate supporting the three aggregates and the mind produced matter. So a single aggregate is taken into this column, and in this condition phenomena column, we have the rest of the three aggregates, mental aggregates, and then we have the mind produced matter here. So that's what you see here, right? In one aggregate, when it's one aggregate supporting the other three and the mind produced matter.
好，那对于这一部分呢，我们可以在表格当中看到它的具体的呈现关系。那如果呢是一韵对三韵和新声色这样的一种构成关系的时候呢，它一共会有四种的方式。那原法可能是受想行识的其中一个，原生法呢，则是与其剩余的剩下的三种名韵和新声色作为连锁生法。
So the same format is applied for three aggregates supporting one aggregate and the mind produced matter. Same with two aggregates supporting the other two aggregates and the mind produced matter.
那么同样的，第二种方式呢是三种的名韵对剩余的一名韵和新声色以具声源为源，它们一共有四种方式，以及最后呢二名韵对二名韵和新声色以具声源为源，那它一共是有六种的构成方式。
But there is one important thing that we need to note here, which is these aggregates, right? So now when we in the previous case, when the metal aggregate supported the mind produced matter, right? In the second enumeration, the second elaboration, so one aggregate supported the mind produced matter, three aggregates supported, two aggregates supported, and all four of them, they supported the mind produced matter, right? But here in this one, when it is the mental aggregates supporting the mental aggregates and the mind produced matter, we only have one aggregate supporting three aggregates plus the mind produced matter, three supporting one aggregate and mind produced matter, and two aggregates supporting two aggregates and mind produced matter. So we don't see the four aggregates supporting the mind produced matter. So the reason being is that when we take four aggregates in the conditioning phenomena side to this column, then in the conditioned phenomena, there won't be any aggregate, right? Only the mind produced matter is there. So because of that, the supporting of the four aggregate is not there in this elaboration in the Kusalattika.
好，那我们呢还需要去注意的一个问题呢，是在第三种的对应关系的表格当中呢，它一共只有三种类型的表达，也就是作为原法的内容呢，只是有一名韵、三名韵或二名韵的方式。而我们刚刚看到的第二种答案当中所表现的关系呢，那虽然是同样的原法呢是善韵，但是呢，它却有四种表达的四种善韵的表达方式。那第四种呢，原法呢是四名韵的方式呢，在第三种关系当中并没有呈现。为什么呢？因为在第二种关系，也就是善对无记的关系之中，它的原生法的内容呢，只是纯粹的新生色法，所以它的原法呢可以是四名韵整体。但是在这里呢，在第三种的关系之中，它的 原生法的内容，除了新生词以外呢，还需要有其他的这个四民韵，其他的善韵，所以呢，它不可能呢，是以原法为四民韵的方式而进行表达。
Okay. So now we go through the analytical states. So in the conditioning side, in the conditioning states, right? So the reciprocally is there. I'll tell the reason later, right? Reciprocally and to the mind-produced matter in fivefold existence, which is obvious, right? Because the mind-produced matter only arises here. And the conditioning states are the 21 wholesome consciousness, 38 mental factors that are constituents, right? So previously in Kusalo Abhyakatasa, it was explained as constituents and as an semblance. But here, only the constituents are there that we need to know. So the conditioned phenomena again becomes the 21 wholesome consciousness, 38 mental factors, the mental aggregates that are constituents, and the mind-produced matter, right? It's quite straightforward. So the reciprocal thing, right? The reciprocal one, so the reciprocally it is applicable only for among the aggregates, right? When the three aggregates, one aggregate supporting three, the three supporting one, and two supporting two, the reciprocal thing is only applicable for that, only among the aggregates. But in the mind-produced matter, the reciprocal thing is not applicable.
Bande, I have a question here.
Yes.
So if we say reciprocally, it means the conditioning Dhamma and the conditioned Dhamma each other, right?
Yes, they do.
But here, the conditioned Dhamma, it is not only just the Kusala Kanda, it also has the Citta Jarupa.
Yes. So we have to, so in general, in the Burmese texts, the Sayadaw explained in this way. They present it in this way and then explain the breakdown. So the breakdown is the mental aggregates supporting each other, and then the wholesome phenomena, they support the mind-produced matter, like that. Right.
OK，班队，我们来看一下有关于第三种答案它的原法和原所生法的究竟法内容。在这里呢，原法的内容呢，那这里的善法内容呢，是在五蕴有中，作为构成部分民运的21种善心和38种相应心所，彼此相互及对心生色。它的原所生法的内容呢，则是善法和无记法。善法内容呢，同样也是作为构成民运部分的21种善心和38种相应心所。那无记法呢，则是心生法、心生色法。我们应当注意的是，在这里呢，他提到的民运部分呢，都是以部分构成部分民运而提到，也就是它只能够是一、二或三种的民运，而不可能是整体的4种的民运。那再者的话呢，在这里呢，他提到了彼此相互，指的是如果它的原法呢是仅以4种民运的关系而言呢，那么它们是可以相互之间呢，在形成具身关系的时候呢，同样受到相互的支持。
So what we have to really do is to break down this sentence, right, and explain it, to understand it when it's presented when it is presented like this. So that is a challenge which I'm facing on a day-to-day basis, really, because I'm translating books to my language and also to English. So what I'm really doing all is to translate the whatever there it is from the Burmese Abhidhamma tradition. So sometimes you feel like, okay, I should change the way it is presented, right? And find something, do something novel. But when I start to do that thing, then some of the elements, some of the components, some of the things which are practice, they get omitted when you try to renovate much. So it's very challenging to do that. So I rather stick to whatever it is done in by the in ancient times, because because like if we do it, and then if I try to uh, come up with an innovation and do something new, and if we lose some knowledge from that tradition, then it's a loss, right? That knowledge will not be transferred to the next generation, to the next other country, to the other language. So I try to stick with that old format. Sometimes it may not look very flashy, but still I try to stick with that.
对吧？对，是的。老师呢，在这里呢，他有提到呢，就是我们现在看到的这些材料呢，都是从缅甸在过去的这些禅师们、这些西亚多们所使用的教材直接的翻译过来，是从缅语所翻译过来的。那在翻译的过程当中呢，那如果有些时候呢，感觉好像他们的表述可能会需要有一些的改变，或者说是这个增减呢，那这种行为呢，可能呢就会失去我们翻译这些教材的一个形式或者是初衷。那我们做的这些老师做的这些翻译呢，是对于传统的一个保留。那如果我们忽略或忽视或改动了某些部分呢，这是对于传统的延续的一个一个一个那个不是特别的负责任所以呢，在这里我们看到的所有内容呢，都是直接的翻译过来的内容，可以吧？
Yes, so we have to remember one more thing is that we have to understand these books. They were written at least a good 500, 600 years ago, when there was no printing press, right? They were written in palm leaves, and the monks, when they learned this Dhamma, they memorized the whole thing, right? Not just the Pali that they memorized this analytical stage too, together with the Pali, so that they had the good understanding on whatever when they recite, or to understand good understanding on Dhamma because of that.
我们应当知道的是呢，这些教材他们是在缅甸大概500-600年以前记录在棕榈叶上的这些的教材的内容。那我们也可以呢，由此而看到，而这个了知到，在古代呢，这些僧人们他们呢是对于所有的这些内容按照这些的方法去进行记忆的，所以他们对于这些巴利文的内容呢，不仅仅有着很好的记诵，而且有着非常透彻的理解。
Right. So far, do we have any questions regarding these three elaborations?
有关于上述的这3点的答案，大家有任何的问题吗？
Okay.
No question.
No questions, it seems. Okay. Okay, so let me explain a couple of more things regarding these combinations, right? So now you might be wondering. Now we find here that three elaborations or three combinations are there: wholesome supporting the wholesome supporting the indeterminate, and the wholesome supporting the wholesome and the indeterminate. So with three combinations here. So you might be wondering. Some of may be wondering. I also had the same question. Are they functioning in three different occasions? Now, say for example, now we are born in the fivefold existence as humans, right? So when the wholesome aggregates are arising, whether it is only the wholesome supporting the wholesome, or whether it is only the wholesome supporting the indeterminate, whether it is the wholesome supporting the wholesome and the indeterminate, whether these things take place in 3 different times, right? Or do they happen together? There's this question, right? Yes, please translate.
Same time. 对不对？好，那在这里的话呢，这3种的关系的呈现，那包括呢，它们表现为善对善、善对无忌、善对善和无忌的，这种答案的呈现的时候呢，那大家可能有些时候呢会产生疑惑，包括老师呢他也会产生这样的疑问：这3种关系它是分别在3种时候表现出来的吗？比如说我们之前在解释9种答案的时候呢，提到它们可能是在3种的时候，在生命转起期间结生刹那，或者说是在对于纯色法而言3种的类型当中呈现。那对于在此的这3种答案，它们是在一起是是在是这个，比如说生命转起期间或结生刹那而呈现的吗？或者说它们是同时呈现的？
Okay, so in the fivefold existence, right? In the fivefold existence, wherever the wholesome aggregates arise, together it arises the indeterminate aggregates, right? So wherever it's there, then wherever in the fivefold existence, really this kusalo and kusalabhyakatas is there. It's always there in the 5 aggregates, in the fivefold existence. But this wholesome and the wholesome supporting the wholesome phenomena, this one, right? This one's, if you take like the standalone, it's always there in the immaterial plane, right? Because they only have the 4 mental aggregates, right? So when there is the wholesome or dhammas are arising, this wholesome supporting the wholesome is there in that place. But in the but when it comes to the fivefold existence, this one, the kusalo abhyakatasa, kusala abhyakatasa is there, right? So if I mean, yeah, okay, go ahead.
在这里，首先呢，如果是对于五蕴界的情况而言，在五蕴有中，只要是有善名运升起的时候，它必定会存在有善对善无忌的关系的呈现。那在四名运的时候呢，因为在除此之外呢，在其他的界当中呢，则不一定存在。比如说在无色界当中，它可能就不会存在有这样的善和善对善无忌的关系。那再比如说呢，在此的第一种关系，善对善的关系呢，它不仅仅可能在五蕴有之中存在，它在无色有之中呢，也能够存在。因为呢，在无色界里面呢，无色界的生存地之中呢，它可能产生4种的名运，所以呢，它是可能存在善对善的这样的一种关系呈现。
Right. So what we have to understand here is really, so is that in addition to that, we have to understand here is that this first combination is there in the fourfold existence, and also it's there in the fivefold existence, right? If you look at just on the combination terms, and this kusalo abhyakatas, it's there in the fivefold existence, and kusalo kusalabhyakatas is there in the fivefold aggregate, in the fivefold existence. So so this is the breakdown really, right? So if you look at the wholesome triplet, right, based on the Sahajāta condition, this is the breakdown, right? How it can be divided, right? You have to understand in this way.
那因此呢，在善对善的关系之时，它可能存在于无色界或五蕴界。那善对善无忌的关系呢，则只能够存在五蕴界。那这样的一种理解呢，它是对于俱生缘的 答案关系的进一步的拆解。那我们在学习具声元的时候呢，可以像这样基于这样的拆解做进一步的理解。
Right. Okay. So now we move into the unwholesome terms. So there are three unwholesome terms, and the method is exactly same as the wholesome, three wholesome terms, right? So only difference is the unwholesome mental aggregates coming.
接下来我们看一下不善组，即使原法是不善法的时候，它也会存在有这样的三种关系：不善对不善，不善对无记，不善对不善无记。那它和善组的表现关系呢是基本一致的，不同的地方呢只是在这里的，嗯，要把善运的内容呢改成不善运的内容。
Right. So I'll go through the Padi nevertheless. Right. The fourth one, akusalo dhammo, akusalasya dhammasa sahajāta paccayana paccayo. Akusalo, which means the unwholesome phenomena supports the unwholesome phenomena through the force of connaissance conditioning. Akusalo khando tinnanam khandanam sahajāta paccayana paccayo. It should be akusalo eko khando, right? One aggregate. So one unwholesome aggregate supports the three aggregates through the force of connaissance conditioning. And then we have Tayo khanda, ekasya khandasya, three aggregates support a single aggregate through the force of connaissance conditioning. Then Dve khanda, dvinnam khandanam, sahajāta paccayana paccayo. Two aggregates supports two aggregates through the force of connaissance conditioning.
好，我们来看一下，在不善组当中，第一个不善对不善它的巴利原文的内容。好，那在这里呢，首先是阿古萨鲁达玛古萨萨达玛萨萨哈吉达巴之言的巴之由不善法对不善法以具声源为源。好，然后呢，阿古萨鲁，but here uh have a ega or
Echo, yeah,
have
akusalo echo.
have but
Yes,
missed。
yes, yes, it's missed. It should be
OK，
echo, akusalo
好，那在
echo.
在这里的话呢，我们需要看到 阿古萨鲁 a go 坎都，这里呢它少了一个一，就是不善的一韵。蒂娜那看到那撒哈扎达巴吉那巴之优，那不善的一韵对三韵以句声言为源。好，然后呢，三韵对一韵以句声言为源，还有二韵对二韵以句声言为源。那这里呢都是不善的类型。嗯。
Right. So the aggregates, the analytical states, straightforward. So reciprocally supporting the 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 12 unwholesome consciousness, 27 mental factors, right? These mental aggregates that are constituents, components, and they are supporting the constituent aggregates.
好，那我们来看一下它的究竟法的内容呢。原法的究竟法是12种不善心和与其相应的27种相应心所。它的原生法的内容呢，同样也是12种不善心和其相应的27种相应心所。
Next one. Akusalo dhammo abhyagatassa dhammassa sahajāta paccayana paccayo. Akusala khanda citta samutthanānaṁ rūpānaṁ sahajāta paccayana paccayo. The unwholesome phenomena supports the indeterminate phenomena through the force of connaissance conditioning. The unwholesome aggregates support the mind-produced matters through the force of connaissance conditioning.
好，第五个答案呢，它的巴利原文我们来看一下。阿古萨鲁达摩阿比亚嘎达斯达玛萨扎达巴真达巴真优，不善法对无记法以具成言为源。它的解释呢是 阿古萨拉坎达吉达萨穆塔那南鲁巴呢萨吉达巴吉那巴吉不善运对新生色以具生源为源。
Right. We have this analytical stage to mind produce matter in fivefold existence. The 12 unwholesome consciousness, 27 mental aggregates. There are both constituents and an assemblates, right, together. And here we have the mind produced matter generated by unwholesome consciousness.
关于这种方式，它的原法呢是对新生色在五蕴有作为构成部分名运以及整体名运的12种不善心和27相应心所。原生法是不善心所生之新生色。
And the number 6, akusalo dhammo akusalasya cha abhyakatasya cha dhammasya sahajāta paccayana paccayo. The unwholesome phenomena support both the unwholesome and indeterminate phenomena through the force of connaissance conditioning. Then the akusalo kando tinnanang khandanang chitta samutthānānaṁ ca rūpānaṁ sahajāta paccayana paccayo.
And they here have an ego
Here
or
also,
not.
yeah, it should be echo here, right? It has been missed. Yeah. So akusalo eko kando tinnanang khandanang chitta samutthānānaṁ ca rūpānaṁ sahajāta paccayana paccayo. So one unwholesome aggregate supports 3 aggregates and mind produced matter through the force of connaissance conditioning. And tayo khanda ekasa khandasa chitta samutthānānaṁ ca rūpānaṁ sahajāta paccayana paccayo. 3 aggregates supports a single aggregate and mind produced matter through the force of connaissance conditioning. Dve khanda dinnang khandanang chitta samutthānānaṁ ca rūpānaṁ sahajāta paccayana paccayo. 2 aggregates supports 2 aggregates and mind produced matters through the force of connaissance conditioning.
对于第6种关系，我们先来看一下它的八例。那它的翻译呢是不善法对不善和无记法以具成缘为缘，然后呢不善的一运对三运和新生色以具成缘为缘。好，然后呢在这里呢是三运对一运和新生色以具成缘为缘，然后二运对二运和新生色以具成缘为缘。
Right. Now we move into the analytical states. So to reciprocally and to mind produce matter in fivefold existence, 12 unwholesome consciousness, 27 mental factors that are constituents, right? That's important. They are supporting the mental aggregates that are constituents and mind produce matter.
第6个答案，它的究竟法呢？如图所示，如表所示，它的原法是彼此相互以及对形声色在无运有中作为构成部分名运的12不善心和27相应心所。原生法呢，则是作为构成部分名运之12不善心和27种相应心所，还有形声色。
Right. So now we will move into the Abhyakata, right? Number 7. So the Abhyakata, it's quite long. The Pali is long, the classification is quite long. And so it's threefolded, 3 types, right? One is at the period of life continuity. And the second one is at the moment of conception, rebirth linking moment, and standalone materiality, right? I'll explain what it's standalone materiality. The other 2 you already know.
现在我们来看一下无记组。那么有关于原法是无记法的状况呢，它的巴利原文和它的解释相对都比较长。那我们呢对它进行分类，可以看到有3种主要的方式。其实呢，在生命转体期间、结生刹那，还有呢有关于纯色法的探讨。
So we'll go through them one by one slowly, right? Okay, so the Pali it comes as Abhyakato Dhammo, Abhyakatasya Dhammasa Sahajāta Paccayana Paccayo. the indeterminate phenomena supports the indeterminate phenomena through the force of connaissance conditioning.
那我们看一下，第7个答案它的巴利原文。首先呢，在这里整体的而言，阿比亚嘎都达摩无记法，阿比亚嘎达萨达玛萨对无记法，萨哈扎达巴这也那巴这有以矩阵元为源。
Right. And right. So now I have designated some numbers here from A to G, I think, yes. From A to G, I have designated numbers. From the paragraph in A, it refers to this moment, right? At the period of life continuity.
那在第7个答案的巴利原文当中呢，那在进一步的详细的解释当中呢，它有 A、B、C、D、E、F、G 一直到 G 这些的详细的解读。那如果将它们归纳入我们刚刚提到的3种不同的表达方式呢，那么第一种 A 呢，它是属于主要表现在生命转起期间的类型。
Okay, so I will go through it. So Vipaka Abhyakato, Kriya Abhyakato, Eko Khando. So there's a typo here, right? Vipaka Abhyakato, Kriya Abhyakato, Eko Khando, Tinnanang Khandanang, Chittasamutthānānaṁ ca Rūpānaṁ, Sahajāta Paccayana Paccayo, right? So here what it is given here is the Vipaka Abhyakata and Kriya Abhyakata, right? So the indeterminate, we know it's two-folded, right? Vipaka Abhyakato means the resultant indeterminate. And Kriya Abhyakato, oh, there's an error here. Yeah. So it should be the resultant and functional indeterminate phenomena. So Vipaka Abhyakato and Kriya Abhyakato, one aggregate supports 3 aggregates and one produced matter through the force of connaissance conditioning. The next sentence, Tayo Kanda Ekasa Kandasa Chitta Samutthāna Rūpānaṁ Sahajāta Paccayana Paccayo. So which means 3 aggregates support 1 aggregate and mind produce matter, which are resultant and functional indeterminate aggregates, right? And 2 aggregates support 2 aggregates through the and mind produce matter through the force of connaissance conditioning. So as I mentioned earlier, this paragraph is applicable during the period of life continuity. So wherever the resultant consciousness arise, wherever it is applicable, it gives, it supports, wherever the resultant consciousness, resultant mind moments are there, and the functional mind moments are there, wherever it is applicable, they will support 3 aggregates and the mind produced matter, right? So the combination of 3 aggregates, 2 aggregates and 1 aggregate. I'm sorry, yeah, 3 aggregates, 1 aggregate, 3 aggregates, and 2 aggregates are there. Yes.
要 translate 版内。
Yes, yes.
对，好，那在类型 A 的巴利原文当中呢，它有提到 果报无记和为作无记的一韵对三韵和心声色以俱生言为缘，果报无记和为作无记的三韵对一韵和心声色以俱生言为缘，二韵对二韵和心声色以俱生言为缘。那在这里呢，他提到有维巴嘎比亚嘎斗和 k 利亚比亚嘎斗。那这两种呢，它是我们通常在阿毗达摩当中所了知的无记法的两种主要类型，即是呢果报无记和为作无记。那这段内容呢，它相对呢较为繁琐。首先呢，它是指代的在生命转起期间，有果报心和为作心果报民运和为作民运转起之时，能够以俱生缘对剩余的民运和形声色产生支柱。
Right. So this passage, right, is applicable therefore for the fivefold existence. So in the fivefold existence, we know some of them, some of the resultant consciousness, they do not produce the mind-produced matter, right? They do not generate mind-produced matter in some of the resultant consciousness. So so we have to take it, right? We take it here, but only the aggregates on such consciousness supporting each other are considered here, right? Not the supporting to the mind produced matter. It's not there for that part, right? So that is also included here, right? So in the fivefold existence, some of the consciousness which do not produce the mind produced matter, that one is also included in this passage, right? Like the two fivefold consciousness, the dvipansa vijnana. So it does not generate mind produced matter. They do not. That's included here.
Exclude from this condition.
No, it's also included here. Not excluded.
Right.
Yeah, it's included.
But it doesn't support the Citta Jarupa.
Yes, it does not support the Chitta Jarupa, but it is also included here because I mean when we go through the breakdown of the Abhyakato Abhyakatasa, there is no place to include that one. So as far as I remember, maybe in the commentary it's mentioned specifically. I'm not sure. Let me confirm. Yeah.
没问题。那对于在此的第一种情况呢，那我们需要理解到，那有些时候呢，比如说像在无色界四蕴有当中呢，那这些即便是作为果报民法类型的民运，它能够对剩余的果报民运以俱生缘的方式互相支柱，但是呢，因为在无色界并不具有色法，所以呢，它并不会产生俱生的心生色法。然而，这样的一种类型呢，也被包含在类型 A 之中。再者呢，我们知道，像双五识，它也是属于果报民运，但是双五识却并不会产生心生色法。那双五识的民运的类型呢，它是属于果报的无记民运的类型，也被包含在类型 A 当中。
I'm trying to locate it, but I cannot find it right in the commentary. Anyway, it is applicable here, right? So once you go through all the explanation of
before we learn from the Dipitaka Sayadaw, So when talking about this condition in his chart, it mentioned clearly should exclude um, the condition we just mentioned, these two conditions.
Which condition? Like the consciousness.
Yeah, consciousness, and also the arupa vajara vibhaga khandha should be excluded from this condition.
From the Sahajāta?
Yeah, from Sahajāta.
No.
He also showed the whole chart. His explanation said that we need to exclude these two conditions.
Maybe, but no, it's not there. I mean, this wherever the wherever the dhammas arise, let it be mentality or materiality, wherever it is arising, the connaissance condition is there, right? So it's not excluded. What I'm trying to tell here also here is that the certain conditions, certain consciousness which does not, certain resultant consciousness which do not produce the mind produced matter, that part is also included here, right? In the analytical states. Okay. So in the analytical states, it's included. I will explain here, right? All of them are included here. But we have to break it down really to understand it properly.
So Bande, in this textbook, the Asian Sayadaw mentioned there's in this conditioning Dhamma, there's 36 kind of Dhamma kanda.
Yes, of course.
36. Oh, very strange.
36 types of resultants, 20 types of kriya, but yeah, so they are applicable.
But when we learn from the Tipitaka Sayadaw, he showed us the chart as a resultant condition only 22 jita, kriya 20, kriya jita 20 times. It's his answer when he taught us this part.
It should be something else, I think also. Might be referring to something else. It cannot be really. Because the Sahajāta Paccaya is applicable wherever any type of Dhamma arise. Sahajāta, Nissaya, Ati, and Navigata. All the phenomena which are arising are supported by this Dhamma, by this condition. Sahajāta, Nissaya, Ati, and Navigata. Only the Nibbana, which do not arise, is not supported by these four conditions.
Yes, but you are right. Sorry, I checked again. It said in this condition he split the condition nama to nama and nama to rupa. These two conditions. In nama to nama, it mentioned in this condition there's a 36 type of resultant jita, but when it is nama to rupa, it should only be 22 types of with resultant jita. He split.
Yes. Correct. Okay, so can you please explain translate about the certain types of consciousness which do not generate mind-produced matter? They are also included in this one.
OK，班的。好，那在这里的话，有关于无记法对无记法的类型，那在生命转起期间呢，按照经文所述呢， 在整体上来看呢，他们会呈现出这样的关系。那其实呢，我们刚刚所提到的果报无记和为作无记呢，他们的四民运之间呢相互支持，以及呢，在某些时候呢，这些果报无记和为作无记会对具身的心生色法以具生缘为缘。然而在某些特定的时候呢，我们知道，那这些的某些类型的果报名句或为作名句，他们这些的有些类型的果报名句呢，果报心呢，他们并不会产生心生色法。那像这样的类型呢，如果我们只是以缘所生法是心生色法的类型来去探讨的时候呢，应当扣除。比如说，那对于双五识而言呢，他们在升起的时候呢，并不会产生具身心生色。所以，如果无记对无记的关系是仅以心生色法作为缘所生法而讨论的时候呢，那么这时呢，不应当包含双五识。再有呢，对于无色界的四种无色界果报心，它们呢也不会带来心生色法。所以这样的四种民法呢，也应当从中而扣除。
Okay, so now we'll go through to the analytical states. Okay, yeah, we'll go through the analytical states, and here the sentence is a little bit complex, but we'll break down one by one. So here it comes as reciprocally, and secondly, reciprocally to mental aggregates, right? So reciprocally among mental aggregates, reciprocally to mental aggregates and to mind-produced matter. So for that, there are vipaka chittas, the 36 of them, the kriya chittas, the resultants, 20 of them, and the 38 mental factors which associate them. And we have these terms as well, right? Mental
Sorry,
aggregates.
I have a question here, Bande.
Okay.
Why there's two reciprocally? I think only
Yes,
one.
yes. No, I'll explain it. That's how the Burmese shadows have written it.
Okay, Bande.
Yeah. So both constituents and assemblats. Okay. I don't know how to pronounce it. Okay. So reciprocally, so we see in this side, we see the mental phenomena, the 36 types of mental resultant consciousness, 20 types of functional consciousness, and the 38 mental aggregates that are in constituents. And again, we have the mind-produced matter. So here the question comes as, now here there are two, reciprocally and reciprocally to mental aggregates and to mind-produced matter. So reciprocally, this first reciprocally, it represents wherever the mental aggregates are supporting the mental aggregates. As the Tipitaka Sayadaw explained, nama supporting the nama. So it takes place in the immaterial world, and also wherever the mind-produced matter are not generated by certain types of conditions, certain types of consciousness, such as the Dvipansa Vijnana, the twofold five consciousness. So the reciprocally part applies to that only. And there is a set of consciousness, both resultant and functional. They give a rise to the mind-produced matter, right? So for that, this reciprocally to mental aggregates and to mind-produced matter is applicable here. That's why this is termed in this way. And also you may have noticed here, this term, the fivefold existence is not included, because this whole thing, this is applicable in the fourfold existence and the fivefold existence, both. And in the resultant one, right? Okay, so again, it's quite long here. So here we see constituents and assemblage. Again, we have to break it down, right? The constituent is applicable wherever it is supporting reciprocally, right? And then when it is supporting, I'm sorry, yeah, yes. So when it is supporting the mind produced matter, then it is there for with assemblage too, right? But here we see in the condition side, we have only the constituents, right? The mental aggregates, and we have the mind produced matter as usual.
Bande, can I translate?
Yes.
好，那在这里的话呢，我们首先要理解得到，那在原法当中呢，提到了首先彼此相互，然后呢又提到了相互对名誉以及对形声色。那这里的话呢，第一种的首先提到的彼此相互，它主要是针对不存在色蕴的无色界的情形而言，因为在这种情况之下呢，只有名蕴的存在，所以呢。这作为在此的果报五蕴和唯奏名蕴呢，它们相互之间可以俱生为缘，这是特定的以该种情形而言。那接下来在五蕴有中，也就是在五蕴界里面呢，既能够产生名法，又能够产生色法的情况当中呢，那这些的果报无记和唯奏无记的名蕴，它们在能够去这个支持其他的部分的民运和形成色的时候呢，那首先呢，那如果是以部分的民运的方式呢，它将能够相互支持剩余的无记民运的部分。那如果呢是以整体的这些果报和唯作民运而言呢，则是支持只能够去以觉生缘支持心生色法这样的一种情况，这是我们在理解的时候呢，也应当特殊考虑的问题。One more question, Bande.
Yes.
Dvitaga Sayadaw mentioned should exclude Arahanta Judy moment.
No, in the Sahajāta, it's not excluded. It should be excluded only in the yes, it should be excluded in the Arahanta Chuti moment for when
Means
it is the
Dhamma support Rupa condition.
Yes. But it says that the Arahantas Chuti Chitta, the Chuti Chitta, it does not generate the mind produced matter. Yes, it should be removed. Yeah. But in this breakdown, it's not really presented, right? So you have to take it. But in I think in the same book, it was maybe in the basics, it's included. Like, I mean, when it comes to learning the Paṭṭhāna, first we learn the basics, which is given in the Abhidhamma Sangha. So in that we learn it in that way, right? Yes, it should be excluded here.
But you can continue.
Yes, done. Yeah, I answered. Yes, please translate.
OK，反对。刚刚呢，我们提到有这样的一个情况，我们需要特殊考虑的。除了上武师和4种无色界果报心以外，阿拉汉的死心呢，它也不会产生心生色法，所以这种情况呢，我们也需要去考虑到。如果是缘法是民法，缘所生法是色法的情形呢，应当扣除这样的特殊的心识刹那。
Okay, so now we'll move into the second part, right? B. Right. So the Pali, it comes as Patisandikkhane. So this explains at the moment of conception, the rebirth linking. Patisandikkhane vipakabhya kato eko khando tinnanang khandanang khatatta charupanang sahajāta paccayena paccayo. It's wrong here. Okay. The translation is not correct. Let me share this one. So Patisandikkhane vipakabhyakato eko khando tinnanang khandanang katatta charupanang sahajāta paccayena paccayo. So at the moment of conception, the vipakabhyakato resultant indeterminate one aggregate, right? Not the functional is not there. So resultant indeterminate one aggregate support 3 aggregates, and Katatta Charupanang means the comma produced matter through the force of connaissance conditioning. And then we have the Tayo Khanda Ekasa Khandasa Katatta Charupanang Sahajāta Paccayena Paccayo. 3 aggregates support 1 aggregate and comma produced matter through the force of connaissance conditioning. Then De Khanda Dinnang Khandanang Katatta Charupanang Sahajāta Paccayena Paccayo. 2 aggregates support 2 aggregates and comma produced matter through the force of connaissance conditioning. Right. Then it comes Khanda Vattusa Sahajāta Paccayena Paccayo. The 4 mental aggregates support the heart base through the force of connaissance conditioning. Then Vattu Khandanam Sahajāta Paccayena Paccayo. The heart base supports the 4 mental aggregates through the force of connaissance conditioning. Comes like that.
好，接下来我们看一下类型 B 它的巴利原文。那在这里呢，它也提到，在结生刹那，果报无记的一运对三运和业声色以俱生缘为缘；三运对一运和业声色以俱生缘为缘；二运对二运和业声色以俱生缘为缘；诸运对一处以俱生缘为缘；一处对诸运以俱生缘为缘。
Okay, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, so we move into the next one. The analytical states. So here also we have reciprocally, right? Reciprocally to the mental aggregates and to the moment of conception, comma produce matter. We have both here, right? Which represents the fourfold existence and the fivefold existence. And there are 19 rebirth linking consciousnesses, right? So they are included here, the 19 of them, and 35 mental factors, mental aggregates that are both constituent and assemblage, and we have the heart base too. So okay, from this side, on the conditioned phenomena, the 19 rebirth linking consciousness and 35 mental factors are there that are in both constituent and assemblage, and at the moment of conception, karma produced matter are there. So this reciprocally and reciprocally to the mental aggregates, right? So this represents the fourfold existence, the first one. Second one is applicable for the fivefold existence. So we know that these dhammas, these phenomena, the mental phenomena, they are supporting each other. So the constituents are there, and they are supporting the mind produced matter. I'm sorry, the karma produced matter at the moment of conception, karma produced matter. So the constituent and assemblage are applicable there for them, right? And here we have something special, that is the heart base, right? So heart base is also included here in the conditioning states, right? Pali we saw kanda vatus, right? And vatu kandana. Kanda vatusa mean the four mental aggregates supporting the heart base, and vatu kandana means the heart base supporting the four mental aggregates through the connaissance conditioning. So that's why the heart base also comes here in the conditioning states, right? So heart base, it becomes a conditioning state and conditioned state, both, right? So here also, here we have the, at the moment of conception, karma produced matter, the heart base is included here, right? When it is supported by the mental aggregates, it's included here. Yes.
Yeah, Bande, it's very interesting because what we learned before, the analyze method, a little bit different from what we learn here. Because I checked in the chart we learned from Tipitaka Sayadaw, when he analyzed the bodies at the moment, he just shows three conditions. Rupa to nama, nama to rupa, nama to rupa. This is the three conditions.
Rupa to nama, nama to rupa, and rupa to rupa. Yes, it's included
Rupa
here.
to nama, rupa to nama, then nama to rupa. This rupa is Hadayavatu. Then nama to rupa again. It's a Parisandi moment. Kamada rupa exclude Hadayavatu. He didn't say nama to nama condition, nama support nama condition. He didn't put it here. So because of that, he mentioned the conditioning dhamma nama here only have 15 types of vipaka. I will check again, Bande.
No, that is 15 type of vipaka chittas are applicable only for the fivefold existence.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So in really in this moment we have the nama to nama, and nama to rupa is there. Then rupa and nama reciprocally, right? I mean, nama and nama is also reciprocally. And here also rupa and nama reciprocally for the heart base, right? And in addition to that, in this moment, we will discuss, maybe not this evening, next week we'll be discussing rupa and rupa too, right? Yeah.
Okay, Bande, I will translate first. Okay. 好，我们看一下，那在 B 种情形当中呢，在类型 B 当中呢，它的原法的内容，包括彼此相互， 以及呢相互对名韵以及对结生业声色作为构成部分名韵以及整体名韵之19种结生心和35种相应心所。那原生法的内容呢，则包含有，那原法内容呢，这里呢中文有漏掉一个内容，就是还包括结生刹那的心声策法。那这个内容呢，没有放到上面。结生刹那的心所一出色。那原生法的内容呢，则包含有构成部分民运以及整体民运的19种结生心和35种相应心所法。那除此之外的话呢，还有作为结生刹那的业生色法，这是它的原生法的内容。那对于这里的对应关系呢，我们也要同样的方式来去理解。那以彼此相互的方式讨论的时候呢，它主要指代的是在无色界、无色有、四蕴有的情况之中，它只是民运对民运的相互关系，也就是这些的果报民运对果报民运互相以俱生缘为缘。好，然后再往下呢，则是以五蕴界，则是以四蕴界的方式而去进行探讨。那这些的果报名运呢，它们既可以在产生俱生缘的时候呢，相互彼此以俱生缘这些的四名运呢，4种的果报名运呢，可以彼此以俱生缘为缘，但同时呢，它们也可以对结生刹那的业生色以俱生缘为缘。那再有的话呢，对于结生刹那的心所一处色，那它呢和结生刹那的果报名运呢是可以相互以继承缘为缘的情况。还有呢，就是在结生刹那的心的果报名运呢，它们可以对结生刹那除了心生色法以外的其他的业生色以继承缘为缘。那这些情况呢，我们应当都考虑到。And, and I have a
Yes.
question. In this condition, rupa to rupa also exist.
Yes.
But
That
why
is what.
in here in this um, conditioning dhamma, it only mentioned the heart base. It doesn't mention the other types of rupa.
It is in the Pali.
Should should
It
it
is in
be
the
in the third
no
condition, the
no.
rupa alone?
I mean now that path is already included here. I mean only the hard base, right? The the hard base. No, I'm sorry. So here it's really you see in this. Okay, let me remove that text already. Okay, so here in from part C, right, from
Yeah, from part
C to
C.
G, right, C to G, it explains standalone rupa, right? So in this one of, I think the first one, yeah. So in the first one, yeah, in the first one, like in part C, all the mind produced matter and karma produced matter are included, right? The uh, two types of matter which are Pali call it chitta
Because
patibaddha.
this condition mentioned in type C, so that's why I'm thinking maybe it will not be mentioned in type B, otherwise it will be repeated.
I mean, yeah, I mean the all types of rupa, every type of rupa are given. The 7 types of rupa are included from C to G, right? Now, do not think here as something is repeating or not, right? I mean, even in the Pali, it's repeating, right? Say if you say the like here, no, no. This one, right? right? Here we have Patisandikkane, Vipakabhyakato eko kando tinnanang kandanang, and we have the Katattacha Rupanang here, right? One aggregate supporting Katattacha Rupanang. The comma produce matter, right? At the conceptual
that is
comma produce matter.
yeah, but that is
So
a conditioned Dhamma.
condition Dhamma, what I'm telling, yes, yeah. So
I mean conditioning Dhamma here only
yes,
the Hadayawatu. But if the conditioning Dhamma is Hadayawatu, the conditioned Dhamma cannot be Rupa again.
yeah. So here we have the three types of, I mean, we have the all the Katatta Rupa here. The comma produce matter is there, and also again we see this here, right? This one is special, right? We come Khanda Vatu Sahajāta Paccayana Paccaya Vatu Khandana Sahajāta Paccayana Paccaya. It appears here too. So in the, like, especially in Khanda Vatus, in Khanda Vatus, this is already included in the first three, right? Because in the Katattacha Rupana, Vatu is also included, but the special relationship is shown here, right? And I'm just showing also the nature of the Pali, right?
Yeah, okay,
So
but I understand.
yeah,
So the
so
Kanda
I mean,
here is Namakanda and also Rupa Kanda.
no, Khanda here is the only the Nama Khanda.
Only
Only the
Namakanda.
Nama, yeah, only the Nama Khanda. So yeah, so having mentioned all this, right? Say now in the Abhyakato Abhyakatassa, in the Abhyakato Abhyakatassa, the relationship between the resultant indeterminate and the functional indeterminate, already they are included here, right? It's already included. And in the standalone materiality, which we'll learn next week, it again explained about the four types of four great material, four great elements supporting each other, which is related to the mind produced matter and the karma produced matter, like that.
And then can you
So
come back to the chart?
this table, right?
Yes, because Bandi, you type on the corner with blue colors, mentioned that there's a four types, right?
Yeah.
Does this four
4 or
types
5.
only recording to type B or recording to the whole Abhyagata condition?
According to type B, I think, now I cannot remember. I type, I think, maybe 3 or 4 types, right?
Yeah,
The
Bandi, you
final
type
one, the
the
final
final
4
one
types,
is
right?
Rupa.
Yeah.
The final
Whatever
one is
this
Rupa
one,
Dhamma.
yeah, this one Rupa to Rupa is not applicable for type B.
Yeah, that's the question. Whether it is applicable in type B. What I'm
Yeah.
thinking, maybe it is not exist there.
Yeah, it's not applicable here. You asked, like, you quoted also about from the Sayadaw's explanation at the time of Patisandhi, what are the types are there? You're mentioning about Nama, Rupa, like that combination. So I wrote them down and I added the Rupa and Rupa too.
It's not referred to the type B.
Type B, no, it's not referring to type B. It's in type C really.
Okay, Mani, then no problem.
Okay, so do we have enough time for questions, or I believe you are tired now?
大家如果有其他问题呢，可以在现在提出。
Okay, seems like we don't have any questions, but please make sure that you go through whatever we studied this evening, and you will have questions for sure.
好，那请大家呢，如果没有任何问题呢，要确保今天我们所讲的内容呢，大家都能够，能够有很好的理解。
Okay, so we'll share merits. I will recite, and may you share merits too. And so whatever the merits which we accumulated by learning, teaching, and reflecting the supreme words of Buddha. So we'll share the merits with deities and all the relatives who passed away, and also the other beings. So I recite it. Akasattha ca bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu sasanang. Akasattha ca bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu desanang. Akasattha ca bhummatta devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu mang parang. Idammi nyati nang hotu sukhita huntu nyatayo. Idammi nyati nang hotu sukhita huntu nyatayo. Idammi nyati nang hotu sukhita huntu nyatayo. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamu Satan samagamu hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Yang pattang kusalang tassa anubhavena panino sabbe saddhamma rajassa nyatva dhammang sukhavahang papunantu visuddhaya sukaya patipattiya asoka manupayasang nibbana sukhamuttamang chirang titthatu saddhammo dhamme hontu sagarva sabbepi satta kalena samma devo pavassatu yatharakkinsu purana surajano tatevimang raja rakkatu dhammena attanova pajang pajang imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddhang pujemi imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya dhammang pujemi imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya sanghang pujemi addhaimaya patipattiya jati jara vyadhi maranam ha parimuccissami idamme punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu idamme punyang nibbānassa paccayo hotu mama punya bhagang sabba sattanang bhajemi te sabbe me samang punya bhagang labhantu Buddha sasanang chirang titthatu Buddha sasanang chirang titthatu Buddha sasanang chirang titthatu Sadhu sadhu sadhu.
Sadhu, 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 Bande. And also, I'm sorry, Bande. Maybe because I checked something wrong. So please ignore some of my question.